Alright, boys and girls, we will be doing our reading and writing instruction from our new weekly journals, or our new weekly work packets. Remember, we are working out of the blue packet since we are in week 1, and we already did our addition and place value. So if I were you guys, I would just go ahead and check that off as you finish, okay? So check it off so you know that you're done with it, and then you know that you just have to move on to adjectives, sight word practice, and reading comprehension. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's dive into our reading and writing for today. We already did a math review, so you guys should have these pages complete. Maybe they're not. Maybe you chose to do reading and writing first. That's totally okay with me. No problem there. But here is the instruction. Okay, so we are dealing with adjectives. Adjectives are describing words, okay? So boys and girls, take a look at this boy right here on the page. This is a boy. How would we describe this boy? Does he look old? Does he look young? I could say this is a young boy. Young would be my adjective. Description, I am describing him. You know, so if he had maybe red hair, you could say this is a young red-headed boy. Young and red-headed are two descriptions that let you know what the boy looks like. Okay, this works for everything. Adjectives describe people, places, and things. So maybe if you think about yourself, you could say, I'm a first grader and I'm fast, I'm smart, I'm funny. Those are all adjectives, okay? So what we are going to do for this worksheet, it says adjectives to describe bubblegum. Directions. Use adjectives to describe bubblegum. What does it feel like? What does bubblegum feel like? Well, what I would say is bubblegum feels sticky. Sticky would be my adjective, okay? Now, when you are writing your words, boys and girls, you don't need to bother mom and dad all the time and ask them, how do I spell? How do I spell? Now, we have learned how to use our sound spelling slides. We know how to sound out words, and if we can do these together. Notice, we have an ST blend. This is something we worked on early in the year, so we know that st is that ST blend. And then we have our short I, k, e. Icky, okay? So that's how we're going to sound it out. Now, the next question says, what does it taste like? I guess it kind of depends on what kind of bubble gum you're chewing. Maybe you like orange flavor, maybe you like grape flavor, or watermelon. I know that when I was a kid, I loved watermelon. So I'm going to say, what does it taste like? Watermelon. Watermelon is my description. It's my adjective. Okay, now we can go down here. What does it smell like? Well, it's not always going to taste and smell the same. That's okay. Maybe you think of another smell. Maybe it doesn't smell like watermelon. But I always do remember these bubble gums that taste like watermelon. I remember them smelling like watermelon. So maybe I'm just going to write watermelon again. That's okay. Now you can get creative. Maybe like I said, it doesn't taste exactly how it smells, or maybe it doesn't smell exactly how it tastes. Next question says, what does it sound like? Well, what does it sound like? I'm going to use the adjective smacks. Have you ever heard gum smacking in somebody's mouth? You could say smacks. It smacks. That's the describing word of what it sounds like. You could think of anything that you can relate it to. It does not have to copy what I am doing here. In fact, I would rather you guys not copy what I'm doing here and come up with your own ideas, okay? What does it look like? If it's watermelon, maybe it's pink. You know, I could say the gum is pink. That is another adjective. Well, what color is it? Pink. Now, maybe you go back and you say, well, I don't want to have two answers that are the exact same. You could say, what does it look like? Now I could say, it could be a pink square, okay? So have you ever had a piece of bubble gum that comes in a square? Maybe you've had a piece of bubble gum that comes in a circle or like a chiclet or something like that. So you can get creative and describe these words however you want, or use these adjectives however you want. Now, going on to our next page, it is our super sight word work. Okay, so you will notice that our sight word is up here in the right-hand corner. Our sight word is after. Okay, so listen to me say it. After. Now I want you to read it with me. Okay, after. Go ahead and spell it out. A-F-T-E-R. After. Okay, so what you're going to do, this top box, it says find and circle it. Well, let's go ahead, let's look. I see afters here, 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 and here. Okay, so not too tough. I know you guys have done something like this in the past. Now it says trace it, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace it. Now after. Okay, so I'm practicing reading it, I'm practicing writing it, and later I'm going to practice using it. Okay, now it says color it. 1 equals green, 2 equals black, 3 equals blue, 4 equals red, 5 equals pink. So I'm going to look. If A has a 1 next to it, I know that I need to color A green. If F has a 2, I know I need to color it black. And 3, blue, 4, red, 5, pink. Notice there are 5 letters in the word after. Okay, now when you're here, you're going to highlight it. I do not have a highlighter on me right now. You can, if you don't have a highlighter, it's okay. You could maybe just circle it. I'm going to just circle it right now, but if you have a color, it might help stand out if you color it in. Okay, so I'm going to circle all the afters over here. After, after, after. Okay, now it says put it in a sentence. We will go blank Dan. We will go after Dan. Okay. Now, remember when we're writing, this isn't the best example, but I want us to do the best job. We want to start our letters at the very bottom, and if it's a small letter, we want to go up to the dotted line. If it's a tall letter, we want to go above the dotted line. Okay, so let's keep that in mind when we're writing. Are we going blank this? Are we going after this? Now it says box it up. Notice you can trace it again. And look, see how A is a small letter, F is a tall letter, T is a tall letter, E is a small letter, and R is a small letter. So it wouldn't make sense if I put F first, right? That's not even how you spell the word anyways. So you want to match up a small letter for a small box and a tall letter for a tall box. So you'll continue writing like this. Notice how it has a dotted line that you can continue to go on up to. After. Now it says build it. Last step is build it. You will need to cut out each of these letters down here and glue them to the box, okay? So we've practiced spelling it, we've practiced reading it, so we should be able to arrange these letters in the right order. Now when you're done, you should be able to have after correctly spelled out and glued into these boxes. Now this is sight words, okay? So now the last page we have for reading and writing today, boys and girls, is phonics reading comprehension, okay? Now, I would like us to try to read this on our own. We want to practice it as much as we can. So maybe you want to read it 2-3 times before you even answer the questions. Maybe you want to listen to me read it first 2-3 times before you even try to read it on your own. But please don't just listen to me and not even try to read it, okay? I would love you to try to read it or listen first, read second, because that's how you're going to build your reading skills, is if you practice, practice, practice. So I'm going to read it here. It says read the passage and answer the questions. Skunk in winter. Now, take a look up here in the top hand corner. It looks like we are working on an SK blend. Okay, so sk, sk, sk. We are working on the SK blend. It says Skippy the skunk loves winter. She likes to skate. See how she skims along the ice? Her skirt twirls around her. Skippy skids to a stop. She looks at the sky. Snow. Skippy takes off her skates. She puts on skis. Skippy goes skiing. She is a skilled skier. She has a helmet to keep her skull safe. What a smart skunk. Okay. So it says, what does Skippy do first? What does Skippy do first? What you need to do first, notice how this crayon says red. What might help you out is you can highlight your answer in red. So go back, reread the passage, and highlight what Skippy did first in red. So you'll figure that out. I don't want to give it away right now. We could do a check and review possibly to make sure that we're doing it right. But what I'd like you to do is highlight that what does Skippy do first in red, and then you write your answer. Now your response should look something like this. Skippy, you should say Skippy did blank. So this is where you'll write in your answer, and then you'll finish with first. Okay? So Skippy did, and you'll fill in your answer, and you'll finish your sentence with first. Now notice how I have a capital letter to begin. I have a period at the end. After you finish writing, I want you to go reread your sentence, make sure the words make sense, and then hopefully you have a complete sentence. Okay, so number 2, what does Skippy do next? So we know what Skippy did first, hopefully. If you guys were following along, you highlighted it in red. And then next it says, what does Skippy do next? You want to highlight that in orange. So go highlight what he does next in orange, and then you'll write what Skippy did next. Now the way you could set this sentence up is you could say next, comma, Skippy. Notice how I capitalize Skippy. Skippy is a noun. It's a proper noun. So you have to capitalize Skippy even though it's in the middle of the sentence. Names get capitalized because they are important. So Skippy is capitalized. Next, Skippy did fill in the blank. This is where you'll fill in your answer and you finish with the sentence. All right, our last question says, what does Skippy wear, or why does Skippy wear a helmet? Now, you can highlight that answer in green. Okay, so figure out why Skippy wears a helmet. Highlight it in green, and you can say, Skippy wears a helmet because and you will finish writing in your answer. This is where you fill in the blank. This is where you'll fill in why Skippy wears a helmet, and you'll finish with a period. Okay? Now, the reason why we repeat some words in the question is because it helps us complete a sentence. It helps us answer a question fully. All right? That is all we have today for our reading and writing. So tune in with me tomorrow, and we'll figure out what we are doing for week 1, day 2 of our new packets. Okay? All right. Thank you, first graders. We'll see you tomorrow.